The stage is set, the bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 84. I am Noel O'Keefe and I am joined as always by Mr. Robert Palin.
How are you, Noel O'Keefe?
Yeah, you done it finally. I'm very, very good. Very tired after a hectic weekend. It was in Cork, boy, for the Super Show, and
all the Cork people turning it off right now. Just fuck that guy.
It was a top show as always with Martin Horgan down there. Some incredible fights. If you want to check them out, what a segue! Why don't you check them out on our sponsors, Fight Star Ireland, Fight Star Media. Everything you need under one roof, two roofs. And tell them the lads from Obviously Fight Talk said you, but go to their YouTube channel, which is Fight Star Media, and you'll see all the fights from the Super Show, from Larborn's Showdown as well. You'll see all the fights. But the Super Show in Cork, what an absolute barn burner of fights from the opening bell to the last bell. 25 fights, and honestly, God, 25 great fights. Muay Thai, the talent in this country, exceptional. Great night for Lionheart. Aaron Boom Boom Brown became the 67 kg champion, Irish ISKA champion, in an incredible back and forth fight with Momo Calf. Incredible fight. Dommy Kelly and Sean Clancy, what a fight. Scored a draw. Clancy keeps his belt because of it, but I won't give you all the spoilers. Go and watch the fights. Incredible fights. Shout out as always to MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk, and feelsupreme.co.uk. Check them out for all your CBD, your natural products, supplements. Use AIR Fight Code Fight Talk at the end to get 10% off all products on site. But Rob, we have a good show this week. We are now about to be joined. You may have seen this on Facebook yesterday, but it's going to be a part of the show as well. We're now going to be joined by BAMMA welterweight champion, who takes on Richard Kiley in the Trash Talk main event at BAMMA in Dublin's 3 Arena on November the 10th. We're going to be joined by Alex the Kid Lohore, who takes on, as I said, Richard Kiley. It's been an incredible back and forth in social media, Rob. And if the Facebook post says that, and the back and forth is certainly going to continue.
If you want some, if you're watching this now, you haven't watched it yesterday, maybe go to the Facebook page while you're watching this and just join the discussion. Just watch the discussion as it goes on, because Richard Kiley joins the comments and leaves a couple of comments.
He's active. Certainly
he's pretty active.
We're going to recap UFC 216, and a weird night for UFC, the pullouts and changing of opponents and stuff like that. But it certainly did deliver. Yeah. History is being made. We have a new champion in the lightweight division, an interim champion albeit. But we will be joined by the great Brendan Dorman to break that down. We will now be then jumping ahead into Referee's Corner, bringing back Daniel Movahedi. Daniel was involved in a pretty weird incident. Well, not weird. Let's be honest, it was a brilliant bit of refereeing stoppage, by Daniel Movahedi. It's something he spoke about previously, Rob, about you have to look at other things. Like, referees have to be educated in what's happening. A good referee, anyway. And, of course, Daniel Movahedi is a world-class referee. He's not a good referee. He's a world-class referee.
So we dropped some knowledge then.
And the video that follows the show, this shows just how good Daniel Movahedi is. It's 84. Let's get it on, and let's get straight to Alex Lohore. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk with Noel O'Keefe and Robert Palin. And if you're watching this live with us, you will see the BAMMA welterweight champion on your screen. We are now joined by Alex the Kid Lohore. Alex, welcome to Obviously Fight Talk.
Thanks for having me, man.
We had to get you on with all the back and forth that's going on. Surprise call out. Firstly, congratulations on the devastating victory over Nathan Jones at BAMMA 31. What a finish, and you have the goal there in front of you. So at the moment, how good does it feel to be the BAMMA champion?
It feels great, you know. Hard work always pays off. I've trained hard for this, so it feels good to get rewarded for your hard work.
You own a professional record now. It's a very impressive record of 13-1. So a lot of people were very surprised when you got past the mic at BAMMA 31. You called out SBG's Richard Kiley, who was currently 2-0 as a professional. What was the call out for? You sort of said that you felt, you know, this guy needed to be shut up because he hasn't earned what he's got, but yet he's getting a title shot and a go with your belt.
So first of all, let me make this clear. I never called him out. He called me out first. I was me and Nathan Jones were having a live video promoting our fight, and he kept going on there and disrespecting and saying he would knock someone out and he would knock this guy out and he would knock me out, and I didn't like the way he was talking, so I really wanted to get on the BAMMA on the Dublin card, so I thought, why not? He's from Dublin. He's 2-0, yes, fair enough, but he's very experienced in kickboxing. He's older than me, he's 33 years old. And it's a good experience for me as well to go in Dublin and fight against someone that's from Dublin. I think as a champion, I need to be comfortable in every environment. So I'll be ready, and I'll be keeping my belt. That's for sure.
That's something. You're coming into the Lions then, basically coming into the 3 arena here. Obviously, Richard's going to have a huge support at it. But is that, as you said, that's something not only as a champion but as a fighter. You want to test yourself and fight in enemy territory?
Listen, when an elephant is charging, the lions, they can't stay in the way. They move out the way. So me going into the lions then, it's fine for me. I live in hostile environment. Hostile environment is my environment. So, it'd be good to go out there and shut him up in his crowd and in his hometown and show him teach him a bit of respect.
Have you watched, obviously there's not a lot of footage MMA-wise on Richard, so have you watched his 2 previous fights, and were you impressed, as in both were good finishes? Were you impressed with what he offers, and is that something that, although you want to teach him respect, do you respect the skills that he brings to the game?
I respect everyone that steps in the cage, but I was not really impressed with his finishes, but they were good finishes. Against not really good guys, and you need to build yourself up before you can start making the big talks and all of that stuff. So that's why I want to teach him. Before he can start talking and cussing people out and calling people out, build yourself up first, and that will be a lesson not just for him, for everyone else. The reason why you have to build yourself up before you can start challenging the champion.
So is that something that the feeling I get is you want to teach this guy, earn your stripes. You can't talk yourself into these fights. So if you're talking yourself into it here, you're talking yourself into an ass whooping.
Yeah, exactly. If you totally understood what I meant.
Because I've watched Richard fight both at kickboxing level and now MMA level, and he certainly is a dangerous fighter. So I appreciate you're saying you respect it, but do you see something? Do you see a weakness in his game that you want to try and exploit? I know you're not going to give us game plans, but do you see something there that you want to take advantage of?
Like I said, I always say, I don't have a game plan when I go in there. I'm always ready in every area. Wherever the fight go, I'll be ready. So, I don't have a game plan. I make sure I'm ready everywhere. And I'll find out in the cage. Wherever he's going to be weak at, that's where we're going to go. Wherever he's, there's nothing he's going to bring that I haven't seen or haven't dealt with. I don't need to speak. You can go online, check my previous fights. Previous guys I fought were, top level. But this fight, everyone is a bit upset with me for taking it. Because obviously I'm giving Richard a great opportunity here. But at the same time, I'm the champ. Everyone who's going to come for the belt is going to be underneath me. So it doesn't matter. I'll take whoever comes.
What did your coaches say to you about this fight? Because I'm sure there's different opinions. As you said, a lot of people are going against you, saying that you want to take this fight. So what was your coaches?
It's my team. We're in a 10 team. If your team is against you, it's not your team. It's your team. So they're with me. They're riding with me.
So they were in favour?
We're going out there together. We're going to the top together. We're going to keep this belt together. We're going to be on top together for until I don't know when.
Alex, with it, as in you're saying, people are upset about you taking the fight. With Kylie only having.
It's not really upset. I would say it's more jealousy.
But do you think
jealousy and
Does that put more pressure on you? Does that put more pressure on you on the fight? Do you feel that you have to finish Richard Kiley because he's only 2-0, you're 13-1?
I don't feel like I have to finish him. You know, I just feel like I need to go out there and win. I don't care how I win. I don't care where I win. I don't care what everyone else says. You know, because I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this for me first of all. You know, I'm going out there for myself because I wanted that fight. I'm not doing all of this for other people. You know, it's me and my team. We go out there and we do what we do best.
And for the fans that mightn't, you know, obviously, you know, the hardcore MMA fans will have seen you fight, especially you fought on big cards like Bellator and BAMMA. So fans will have seen you. But what's your strongest? If you had to tell someone your style of fighter that you are, how would you describe yourself, Alex?
It's right there, man. All rounder. I'm an all-rounder fighter. All round. So, you know, I don't have a style that's better than the other. You know, I feel like my striking, my wrestling, and my grappling are all at the same level. I don't have a stronger side.
So you say essentially you're comfortable wherever the fight goes?
Yeah.
One of the things that Richard said was that he wasn't impressed with your last finish. You said that it was a lucky shot. What would you say to that?
It's funny. That was funny. Well, the response to that, how can that be lucky, man? That can't be lucky. How is that lucky?
A beautiful finish. It was a beautiful finish with the elbow setting it up, coming off the cage, and then landing the big shot. When I've noticed from watching you fight, when you see the blood in the water, you certainly go for the kill as well. And is that something again that in this fight, if you see Kiley, you know he's coming in, he's going to be main eventing on a big card. You have that experience, so do you think that
not only for this fight, for every fight, every time I see, you know, the opportunity, I'll always go for the finish. I'll go for the finish. You know, we don't get paid overtime, so whatever the finish is there, I'll be taking it. So, you know, it's not just for Kiley, it's for everyone, every fight. I'll take it. I always, you know, take it the same way.
I'm not too sure if you're looking here as well, Alex, at the comments coming in, but Richard is quite active here in the comments as well. He basically said it was a lucky shot because Nathan ducked into it.
Let's say he didn't duck into the knee. There was a massive high kick coming straight. He had his hands down, going backwards. It would have been the same outcome. So, you know, him coming in shooting for the takedown is the same thing. You know, it was something we drilled over and over again. We knew he was going to run away. We knew he was going to shoot in suddenly. So all of that were things that we were prepared for. So, you know, Richard can say whatever he wants, but I know what's the truth.
Obviously, there's a gulf in experience here in cage time. Is that something that you feel it's going to play in the fight as well, where you've fought on the big shows, as we said, Bellator, BAMMA, you've fought in a title fight now. So do you think that experience is something that's going to come in as well? It's not just going to be skill set, you're going to be more savvy in there because you have more cage time? Well,
you saying it yourself. I can't contradict you on that. I definitely have an advantage on that. I've been on, you know, bigger shows than what Richards has, and you know, I'll be comfortable in there. It's my house in there. That's why I'm the world champ.
What about the possibility of underestimating Richard Kiley? Is that something that could creep into your game?
I don't underestimate him. Don't say that, because I never said that. I don't underestimate anyone who I'm gonna fight against, or who I step in the cage against. You know, me saying that he's not as experienced as me doesn't mean that I'm underestimating him. I'm just saying that I have more chance to win and better abilities than him.
We have a question from Ben Allen. Makes sense. We have a question from Ben Allen. He says, when you beat Richard Kiley, he called him something else, how long until we see you tearing up the 170 division in the UFC?
Well, it's not my call. It's not my call. Well, whenever Dana White comes and give us a call, that's when you see me out there. We're ready. We've been ready for a long time. We're just waiting. There's no rush. We're not rushing. We don't need to go chase them. You know, I like to stay active, so I'm always going to be active no matter what show I'm on. You know.
That's something like it. It is a quick turnaround as well for you. So, did you take any break? Did you just take a few days off and go straight into camp? Or are you one of these fighters, Alex, that stays active in training in the gym, be it a fight coming up or no fight?
After every fight, it's always important to rest. So I did take a couple of weeks off, and then straight back into the gym. You know, I'm always active, always training. So a couple of weeks off, not going to really affect anything. The cardio is still there, you know. And that's it, really.
As well, with this fight as well, obviously it's going to be in the Tree Arena. We expect it to be a sold-out show here in Dublin. Is this something as well? You were saying you were eager to get on the card. Was that the eagerness as well to, you know how big the Irish following is here for MMA and you know the platform? So is that what it is as well? You want it on the card just to see, get more eyes on you?
That's my main thing, you know, because I came to Dublin the last time BAMMA was there. I came to watch actually Terry Brazier and Nathan Jones was fighting that night as well. So I came there, BAMMA, you know, got me a ticket, so I was there watching, and you know, I loved it, man. I even went to SBG. I trained that day. Richard, I didn't see you that day. So yeah, I was at SBG, went there, did a session. I was watching the fights, and it was lovely. The atmosphere, the crowd, everyone was proper into it. It was a great experience. And now fighting on the card will be, you know, even better experience. I can't wait.
It's something that as well, that belt, not the weight class, but that belt, it can be a path too, as you were saying, the UFC. But we actually had Tom Duquesnoy on the show last week, who's obviously in the UFC now, but he famously turned down the UFC contract when he was 19 because he wanted to gain more experience. But would you be under the same? Would you be looking to defend that belt a few times? Or if after this the phone rang and it was the UFC, are you UFC ready? Or do you want to defend that strap a few times?
You know, to your eyes, what do you think? Do you think I'm ready?
Well, I can't disagree with the stoppages and the winning streak and the names you've beaten. The list is impressive. So certainly, you know,
I think I'm ready.
I'd be interested in seeing it.
I think I've you know, this few fights will be my last, you know, experiences, you know, and then, you know, whatever, if UFC comes and knock the door, you know, I'll be more happy than you know. But I'll obviously, I'll defend my belt first of all, you know, a couple more times, and then
Do you have a set number of fights left with BAMMA, or is it more of a rolling contract?
I've got 3 fights left with BAMMA.
And do you expect to fight, you know, within a couple of months, you know, stay active as you have been, or are you trying to take some time off after this one?
Yes, I don't need no time off. You know, this is what I do. I enjoy doing this. It's not, for me. It's not work. It's a hobby. It's a hobby and it's my job at the same time. So I'm enjoying the whole process. I'm enjoying the lifestyle. I'm enjoying the whole thing. So yeah, I'm staying active.
One thing as well is, again, it's just because I have the stream here in front of me and I can just see, thanks for listening, Richard, but Richard is very, very active in almost every comment you're saying. He's answering back. Is that something that, how constant Richard is with the trash talking, is that something that will come into it in the fight, or do you just laugh it off and brush it off?
I just laugh it off, reply to whatever I have time to reply for. And that's it, man. He's trying what how can I call it? He's trying to get more confidence for himself, you know. But it's fine. It's fine.
So you think this is a front?
Say that again?
You think it's a front that he's putting on?
It's a big front.
A couple more questions here. Claudio Santos, he asked what prediction, what's the round prediction? Do you think it's going to be a finish?
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a finish. I'm not going the distance with Richard. No way.
Again, questions just flooding in. What's your cut to 170, Alex? That's from Farrell Connolly. What weight do you have to cut to make 170?
What weight do I have to cut?
Yeah.
I cut from 82 kilos. So I diet down all the way to 82. about, let's say, 3 weeks before the fight, and then do my cut.
Is it difficult?
I don't really think much. Huh?
Is the cut difficult?
Nah, it's an easy cut. You've seen me at my weigh-ins. I don't look dehydrated. I don't look old. You've seen the pictures and stuff.
Richard Cunningham asked the question, what's your favourite fight from your amateur days? Do you have one?
Ooh, my favourite fight from my amateur days. I think I'll say my title fight at WCMMA. My first title fight. It was a great fight. A lot of pressure, and that first belt. Yeah, it was a good fight. That fight.
MMA at the moment, both in UK, Ireland, and Europe, it's absolutely blown up over recent years as well. Do you find that it's a little harder to make your mark? As in, you get again with BAMMA, you've had Tom Duquesnoy, you've had Mark Diakhese, Mark Godbeer. These are just a few names. Is BAMMA the best platform, do you feel, in Europe to get to the next level, as in the UFC?
Yeah, I think BAMMA is definitely the best platform. To me, it's the biggest show in Europe. After BAMMA, obviously there's KSW and other, maybe ACB, but straight to go to the UFC, it's BAMMA, man. BAMMA is the where you get all the challenge and everything, man.
The gold belt sitting on your knees there as well, Alex. Can we push you again entirely up to yourself? Can we get a prediction? How does it go down on the 10th of November in the Tree Arena?
Like I always say, I'm not Mystic Mac, but all I can say is that Richard Kidd is gonna get taught a lesson, and it's gonna be a lesson not just for him, for everyone else who's trying to do what he's doing, being 2-0. And trying to disrespect the people who's actually putting the work, the sweat, and everything just to try and get to the top, So that'll be that's what's going to happen. He's going to get taught a lesson.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to keep my belt.
The reigning BAMMA welterweight champion, Alex the Kid Lohore. Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We wish you the best of luck in the remainder of your camp. We will be there on the night to watch live, and we'll possibly speaking to you afterwards. And again, best of skill on the night as well, my man. And thanks for coming on to Obviously Fight Talk.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me again.
Cheers, my man. Take care. Bye. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Your champion, your BAMMA champion. The fight goes down on, as I said, on November the 10th. In Dublin's Tree Arena against Richard Kiley. If you haven't been following this on social media and you're an MMA fan, what are you doing with yourself? Richard Kiley is talking fantastic trash.
Just take a look at the comments.
Just look at the comments on this video alone. He's putting the work in to promote this fight. It's a huge opportunity. Even as I'm saying this, Richard has just said soon to be former BAMMA champion. But this is a fight that it's a 13-1 guy taking on a 2-0 guy. But as Alex, with Alex there, Alex is quite level-headed and he's not disrespecting what Richard Kiley offers. In there, he realises he's a skilled kickboxer and he knows what Kiley's bringing here. So the fear of him underestimating Richard Kiley, I think, is non-existent. And this promises, if it's anything like the build-up, this promises to be a fantastic fight to headline BAMMA here in Dublin. So get on, get your tickets. It's an absolutely stacked card. So welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see, and if you're listening on audio, you're about to find out the return of the great. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's nobody better. Mr. Brendan Dorman is back on OFT.
Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
I love it. Every week I'm waiting.
Do you know what that reminded me of? Did anyone see during the 216 broadcast when there was a kid in the crowd and the camera panned past him and then he started dabbing all over the place?
Proper, That or when
crazy.
He did the Hogan pose?
No, he went crazy.
He went schizo.
Oh, he just went psycho?
Oh, yeah, he went psycho.
Man.
My favourite part, I had two favourite parts of the broadcast. One was when they were going to break and the live mics were still on, and Joe Rogan said, "Have I got time to go for a leak?"
Yeah.
That, and then when Bruce Buffer was calling out the scores of the Duquesnoy fight, and he clearly forgot how to say Duquesnoy. I'm there, Bruce. I'm your man. I'm with you. I've been there before. But he literally looked at his card and went, "Judge Menethal has scored it 29-28 for Duquesnoy." He completely lost Duquesnoy. Because in fairness, I know how Bruce Buffer works. He gets the fighter to say their name and he practices it over and over and over. But obviously, as he was reading the card out, he just sort of looked at it and seen Duquesnoy. I was like, what the fuck does this say?
He didn't say Duquesnoy.
He just went Duquesnoy. It was weird. It didn't say Duquesnoy. But there's my two favourite parts. Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah, it looks like that.
But
how you see it?
Yeah, there was a few live moments like that as well. It was actually
one more. Did you hear the John Anik one?
What?
When he was talking to Daniel,
brilliant.
Daniel Cormier. Well, Joe Rogan brought up
gangster.
Yeah, they were talking about Californian teams, and Joe Rogan was talking about, I don't know which team it was, but it wasn't Daniel Cormier's team, and saying, "Oh, this is one of the best teams in that state," or whatever. And Daniel was like, "Don't say that in front of me." And then John Anik turns around and goes, "Well, at least that the fighters can stay fit and don't get injured all the time and overtrain."
He said something about not like them AKA guys who overspar. Yeah.
And that guy, I didn't see that. I just didn't see it coming.
No.
It's like,
it's clean cut.
I remember he said about Diaz. Remember, and then he had to get 209 tattooed on him as well.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Rob will tell you in the early days here, I was like, I don't know about Anik.
Yeah.
I don't trust the man who oranges jeans. Right, that was something. He always had the most pristine jeans when he's doing Q&As.
I love that you said that. Keep it coming.
They were just, I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then he kept...
A guy that irons his jeans, a guy that washes his jeans every single day is weird.
Yeah.
Good ironing.
I agree with that one.
They're fucking jeans. Calm down.
Yeah.
They need to be rugged.
But he's actually really grown on me. I really like him. I really like the trio of Anik, Rogan and DC. I think it's brilliant because DC and Rogan are just like mates having a laugh. Sometimes they forget that they're actually commentating on fights and just talk 100%. Pure random.
Yeah.
But I think we can agree we're guilty of that. We're meant to be recapping UFC 216 and look what's happening. So beautiful segue into it there now. UFC 216 went down at the weekend. History was made. A division got a new interim, by all means, champion. Heavyweight division went absolutely weird. Fights were on, fights were off. Moved to main cards, different opponents. It was a crazy, crazy night on Saturday night for UFC 216. I thought it delivered. Let's start at the top. The main event, seeing Tony Ferguson taking on Kevin Lee for the interim lightweight title. What did we think of the fight? And just your general thoughts on the outcome, everything about it. Brendan Dorman. Hit us with some knowledge.
Take it away.
All right. Interesting. In the first round, I was going, shit. But what clicked in my head, as soon as Lee's transition amount was amazing, but what clicked in my head was the RDA fight and even the Barboza fight to some extent. But in both of those, Ferguson wasn't doing too hot in the first round either. It wasn't exactly the same. I mean, the way that he wasn't doing well, he's doing this weird snake charming thing every first round into the second, and then he just kind of pours on he becomes the Cobra, if you will, if that analogy makes any fucking sense at all. But it's like all that movement and all that, it's not just a distraction. He's making reads on things because he throws his jabs like mid salsa dancing, it's
pretty much.
There is a purpose behind what he's doing. The thing is Kevin Lee's very fundamentals guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't do much flash. He's got good hands. They're getting better. His footwork is getting better. He keeps his head a little too stiff for me. And he's got a great striking coach, so I don't totally get that. But his wrestling and his guard passing and control from both is incredible. So anyway, great first round. Second round started to even out. And then the third round, I put up on Twitter, I think it was between the second and the third, I was like, something's off. I could tell by the way they each went to their corner, something in the air. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't someone got hit and I'm like, oh, I think they're hurt. It was just one of those things that you can't totally describe. I'm like, the tides shift, and I kind of just saw it coming. And then Tony off his back to finish was incredible. His guard play, like that whole 10th Planet system, his transitions were brilliant. The armbar escape was amazing, but then right into that triangle that he had locked up.
What do you think, Brendan? Sorry, I'm cutting in on you. What did you think? Do you think when Lee, because it looked over, the armbar looked absolutely cinched, tied in, and it was a beautiful step over on the fence by Lee, but do you think that was his last bit of energy he had, and he was just sort of hoping to go back into guard to rest for the remainder of the round?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Although I think at that point he was already, fatigued. I think some of the misconception, and Joe had brought this up on the podcast, Joseph, he was saying about the staph infection, which was a good call. He ended up being correct about that, right?
Yeah.
And it was, how much did that drain you, et cetera, and he had a weight cut issue. So a lot of people were that was the talking point, was his gas tank. But he just leapt like 6 stages, as far as like the eyeballs on him of the world in MMA, right?
Yeah.
So like pressure, man, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Some people aren't ready for that. That's why you see free throws missed in the NBA and crucial moments by rookies, let's say, right? But a savvy vet's not going to miss that shot. So it's kind of like that. It's energy expenditure meets anxiety.
Yeah.
And when you get all of that together, it's just he didn't have much left after that armbar escape, but I don't think it was just that.
Yeah.
I think by all means he's just he's a bad fucking dude, and I mean that in the best way. He's a savage, and he did everything he could to get back in there. But you're absolutely right. He was resting in the guard at that point. He was leaving his arms out completely. And then Tony's heels went to hips, and he was still keeping his arms extended. I mean, anyone that's done jiu-jitsu for 3 weeks knows that's a terrible place to put your hands. It's coming from a guy that choked out Michael Chiesa, not so long ago. So,
and that's something that Joe said on the broadcast. His hands are fine where they are now, and it was if Lee was demonstrating it.
Yeah,
he said, but if he leaves his hand, he's put his hands there now. Now he's in danger now. He's in danger now. He's in danger. And of course,
there's one point that you brought up, Brendan, that I brought up during the Dukenwa fight, and it obviously didn't work out as well for Dukenwa because he ended up losing the decision. But when you talked about the pressure fighting and the reads that Tony made in the first round, like, not only are you overloading Kevin Lee's energy systems by actually pushing him, pressure fighting, but all those reads, all those feints, all that's as well the mind, and that's overloading his mind as well. So that he's thinking about the shots more, and he's exhausting himself more, and then in the scrambles and then everywhere else. So I think that's a good point where you said not only is it physically he's pressuring him, but mentally as well, because he's making those reads early on, making those feints earlier on.
Yeah, there's 3 things contributing. That's a really good way. You could almost compare it to a computer. It's like hardware and software, right? And all of it's almost, on overdrive, right?
Yeah.
And thirdly, you just said something that brought up like another point that was like a good one. Shit. Oh, as far as pressure, right? Tony's not a typical pressure fighter. Like Khabib is a pressure fighter. I never bring him up. I'm sorry. I apologize. Khabib's a really good example of he's coming at you. Like Tony doesn't come in straight lines, and he's not, because he's not even like throwing strikes necessarily a lot of the time that he's pressing.
Yeah. And
he's coming at you like it's so odd and non-linear. And I don't mean by linear, I don't mean like left, right, straight, back. It's more like he's just very sinewy in his movement. So it's not typical pressure. Well, it's the pressure of the magnitude of the fight. The pressure of course, literal guy in your face moving around you, kind of making you look silly. And then, the aforementioned. So there's like 3 different things going on. And I just think Kevin Lee at 23 or 24?
25.
That's a lot to ask of that kid, man.
Yeah.
Because he had one kind of big fight, and then all of a sudden he's going in there with a gangster in Ferguson. And that guy's been on fire for 5 years.
The turn of the tide you were talking about, I think, Brendan, as well, when he was walking back to his corner after the second round, Ferguson took the still for all of about 20 seconds and then stood up and started talking absolute trash across the cage to Lee. And that for me was where it was almost like you could tell Ferguson, he knew this is where it was starting to come. But one thing I want to point out is a couple of things. Sorry, you want to go on? You want to make a point? I'm going to move on from fight, but go on.
I was going to say one thing, only because it was hilarious. I don't know if you guys caught it because we were talking about funny. Did you notice? Eddie Bravo in his corner he totally trolled everyone. No. He noticed the camera over here at the end of the round that you're talking about, like the cameras that are in the ring that kind of try to catch the corner action. And he sees the camera, and then he says super loud to Tony as he's about to walk back, he's like, watch out for his takedowns and keep your hands up, as if it was real advice. It was total bullshit advice, like on purpose. It was hilarious. Yeah. I don't know if anyone caught that, but I was laughing my ass off.
Is Tony Ferguson the best lightweight in the world?
I gotta see him fight Khabib, and I have to, and I gotta see him fight Conor. Conor's a very interesting matchup with him, and they all are. Those three right now, like something's gotta give or happen, with those three. So I don't know. He's right there.
One thing me and Noel were talking about today coming in was that both guys, if they fight each other, they kind of play into each other's weaknesses in certain ways. Like on the feet, Tony can be hit. On the ground, obviously Conor. Yeah,
100%.
So it's an interesting fight.
Yeah, because if it goes to the ground, Tony is
crazy,
ninja above Conor, but striking wise, although it's tough to tell in a way.
Yeah.
In other words, like what I was saying about his unorthodoxy, right? He utilizes that as his striking system. Conor utilizes his unorthodoxy to then set up, I don't want to say basics, but standard fare, right? So if he does this weird spinning capoeira kick, he gets up from that and just throws a cross.
Yeah.
Like it's all a distraction in order to land normal strikes, if that makes sense. Yeah. Everything Tony does to land is unorthodox. Does that make sense the way I'm explaining it?
Yeah.
So I totally 100% agree with that. Khabib hasn't lost a round.
Yeah.
Can
Khabib make 55?
I get it. I hate that he missed weight. I don't know what the fuck happened. I wasn't there. People miss weight a lot. Tony Ferguson pulled out of their first fight. So we got to be semi-honest with ourselves. He's got to get in there somehow. If not, I'm going to clearly give up on the guy. But to call him the best, I'd say he's there. I'd say you got to say him and Khabib resume-wise. Actually, his resume is better. And Conor's only had one fight at 155, so it's tough. Crazy. But he smoked Eddie, so I don't know. Yes, I guess. I mean, based on resume, yes.
It's something I was going to do before both of you rudely interrupted me and then wouldn't let me say my point. Was weight cutting has been highlighted a lot this week with Kevin Lee was allocated an extra hour to lose a pound. He went and just to prove a point lost 1.5 pounds. But he had to get as far as I'm aware, he had to get cleared medically to go another hour. So how did they not spot staph infection, or was it a blind eye just turned because they did not want to lose this main event?
The latter.
Yeah.
We've seen, come on, it's Vegas.
Yeah.
What needs to be done though? What needs to be done though with this? This seems to be. I don't want to. We could talk about this for a long time, but just briefly, what is the fix here for weight cutting? Because Ariel Helwani has said, they need to bring out the new weight classes. But the thing with the weight classes is, if they bring out, let's say, a 65 weight class, you're going to have guys who fight at 85 going, I could make 65. And they're just going to have bigger cuts to different levels. So it's going to resolve guys cutting to 55, but it's then going to incorporate 85ers cutting to 65. So it's a swing and a roundabout that goes around. But there was an example in Pancreas this weekend as well,
what I was gonna say,
where a fighter was literally carried onto stage to weigh in.
No joke.
Looked like an extra from The Walking Dead. And then fought the next day.
Yeah, they had to hold him. They had to hold him up to get him onto the stage. Yeah. And then once he got onto the scale, they had to hold him up so he wouldn't collapse. They weighed him in, and then he fought the next day.
Worse than Travis Lutter looked Anderson?
Yes.
This guy looked barely alive.
Yes, he looked like someone took him off a hospital bed and said, right, time to weigh in. We'll tag you. We'll send you the link.
That's how people go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
I cut you off.
We'll send you the link for it that you can check it out. But it's just...
I definitely want to see that.
Like, the Nick Lentz fight got pulled as well, due to medical issues as well. There was a lot of weird...
It's just insane. Like, the whole... almost tradition of cutting so much weight that can from the wrestling backgrounds.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Like, what's the logic behind putting yourself in your worst state 24 hours before you get into a cage to fight another man? It makes no sense. Obviously, they're going to say, oh, it makes sense because I'm going to be the bigger guy. But there was actually a study today. It was on Bloody Elbow. Check it out. There was a small study done that even a slight weight cut, like weight cuts that aren't even comparable to what the UFC fighters do, gives you a serious decrease in performance the next day. So there's been science put behind it. So I don't know why there's no enforcement of... I don't know, ONE FC done something. I know they done it like maybe last year or 2 years ago. And I'm not sure if there's been some research on it. But they basically have guys weighing in at the start of training camp to make sure they're at a certain weight. Stuff like that. I'm not sure. I know it's hard
what you're going to get there is you're going to get guys cutting throughout the year then to try and maintain that they can make, and that's going to be worse again.
Who says that's worse? If you can stay at a certain weight and not like at an unhealthy weight. Like if you have a doctor coming in to say, okay, at this weight you're healthy, and if you're starting your weight cut at this weight, you should be fine to cut, you know, however amount of pounds.
But this for me, it was just something that because look at us, I know we're going to go off on an absolute tangent on this, but it's just, for me, fighter safety should be a priority, and I just found it very, very weird and concerning that since the early weigh-ins, I think I'm right in saying that Kevin Lee is the first that has been given this extra time with the early weigh-ins to make it. So that'll show you. I think it shows you more so how badly affected this card was with injuries and pullouts that they literally allowed this to happen.
It's going to take something terrible for it to change, unfortunately.
Let's move on to something better and something great.
Yeah, I don't have like profound. I've heard good arguments for both, so I don't have anything to add to that. Moving on.
Let's talk greatness.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk the GOAT. Let's talk the best mixed martial artist to ever get in there and do it. Demetrious Johnson just defended his title for the 11th time at the weekend. He fought a very game opponent in Ray Borg. We have said this previously. It doesn't matter when you get Demetrious Johnson, you get him too early. Yeah. This was a fight that Demetrious Johnson was on his way to winning on all rounds, on all judges' scorecards. He was cruising to a victory. He then pulled off. It was like Demetrious Johnson seen the Boston Crab last week and thought, oh, that's the craziest submission in MMA, is it? Hold my beer a moment. And then went for a suplex into an armbar and tapped Ray Borg. Incredible performance by Demetrious Johnson, taking away the submission. But to then add that submission to the performance, this surely ends the argument of how incredibly skilled, free fighting and mixed martial. This guy is the ultimate mixed martial artist. Do we have any disagreements to that statement?
No, it'd be ridiculous at this point. The only thing you could ever say is competition. Although you can't. I don't like faulting someone entirely. I mean, I get it, right? Like strength of schedule, I get it. But you can't fault him that he's that much better than everyone. That weight class has been around long enough. Yeah. Catch up, everyone. It's like it's not on him. Yeah. But beyond that, he is literally world class as far as, if we call jiu-jitsu the submission game, right? Like the actual ground game of grappling. If we call that jiu-jitsu for conversation's sake, he's a ninja. If it's the clinch game, he's a fucking ninja. His boxing, ninja. Like everything he does, he's a fucking ninja. He's what people who don't watch MMA think Bruce Lee was.
Yeah, sure.
But real.
Good. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's the most incredible fucking thing I've ever seen. He's so good everywhere. I'm a GSP Mark as a friend, as a fellow Henzo guy, as a fellow Phil Nurse guy. I mean, I have an affinity for him. I looked up to him. I became friendly with him. I don't know DJ all that well. In fact, I don't really know him at all. But fuck all that. You have to be honest in your discourse. He's, by a planetary distance, the most skilled martial artist ever Period.
Completely agree.
There's no one that skilled. Like, no one's even kind of there. Like, no one's close to. It's like he's one, I don't know who's three. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane.
Amazing. Amazing.
2 points on 2 points. One thing on what you said and then something else. On the whole competition thing, I don't get that because, like, how can you compare competition between weight classes like that? Because think about it. If Demetrious Johnson didn't exist, maybe Joseph Benavidez would be doing the same thing at flyweight. Maybe. Yeah. You know, it could be something similar to that. And then everybody else would be saying, you know, the rest of the guys are terrible and Joseph Benavidez is amazing. You can't compare it like that. It's all relative. So what Demetrious Johnson is doing is absolutely incredible. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What I was going to say is, well, it just came to my mind. I think with DJ, part of it is he had to fight at 135 for a minute. You know, and he had to fight Cruz, who, especially then, was like he's a big 135er. Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty sizable gap, pun intended, I guess. Yeah. You know, so I think if there was never that, if that part of his career never happened, I don't think you'd hear it. You know, I don't think you'd hear it as much. Yeah. I just think people have that kind of etched in the back of their head.
I was working in a show down in Cork at the weekend, Brendan. So Cork for us here in Dublin, it's about a 2.5 hour drive. And there's
That's where my peoples are from.
There was a couple of guys sitting behind me just as the show ended, and we're sort of wrapping up, and they were saying to one another, "Are you going home to watch the UFC?" And they're like, yeah, we'll just get home. They were Dublin lads, so they're saying, yeah, I'll just get home in time for it. And they're like, I'm not really bothered with the Demetrious Johnson fight. You know, you just know he's going to go in there and win in dominant fashion, and you're there going, is that in itself not impressive? Like, and it's funny because we've spoke about Demetrious a lot, and a regular listening to our show even said to Rob in comments that he shouldn't even be considered in a list of greatest all time because of the weight class and stuff. But take away weight class, all that, what he demonstrates and what he showcases and how he implements and finishes fights and builds it to, like, Demetrious Johnson broke Ray Borg down. Like, Ray Borg was game as hell. There's no way Ray Borg wanted to tap in that situation. He had fought off so much. Yeah. Like, even it was a round 2, Borg got Demetrious' back. Yeah. And DJ just looked like he got a haircut and was shaking hair off him. He just went like that, and all of a sudden he was on top. Like, this man is just an incredible, and I said it before, I honestly think fans of MMA will only really appreciate Demetrious Johnson when it's all said and done. What he's achieved, I honestly think what's next for Demetrious is he has to fight the winner of TJ or Cody to be seen as a great. If he was to go and beat them,
it kind of sounds silly though, because you know why can't he go on a flyweight and beat everybody again? Like that's insane. Just kind of go the other point that I had as well, just so I can go to the other point, so I don't forget. It was on Matt Hume, because nobody really talks about Matt Hume that much, and I find the partnership or kind of relationship that Matt Hume and Demetrious Johnson has, it reminds me of like when Mike Tyson talks about like Cus D'Amato, or exactly something similar. Where
100% the same.
Exactly, where you have the guy who came up with the same coach, and I'm not giving all credit to Matt Hume, but it seems like he built Demetrious Johnson to the fighter that he is. Now you have to have an extremely talented guy like Demetrious to actually be able to do it. You know, somebody who's not super talented can't do that. But it's almost like he's a vessel, and Matt Hume is a guy that brought him up and molded those talents. I just think it's an amazing story, and I think he should get a lot of credit as well.
It's as though Cuss would have gotten Mike when he was 50 or 40. Yeah, you know, instead of dying, a couple fights into Mike's career. Yeah. It's amazing, and I think all of that is 100% valid. You have a sponge, a humble guy still, super humble. Nothing's changed about him, which is admirable. Counterpoint, kind of, in a way. When I went to work the next day, people that don't really watch MMA were talking about the armbar. So that's a good thing, you know. You want, and like one kid at work who doesn't really know too much, he was saying to me, he's like, why is it the lighter class guys seem to be better, like more skilled? I was like, fuck yeah.
Yes, sir.
Keep watching. I like the way you watch. You know?
Hopefully people catch on.
Like, me and Rob, again, we got a coffee walk in the work this morning. We're coming up, and I said to Rob, if you were playing UFC, the video game, at home, and you suplex somebody into an armbar, you'd say this game's bullshit. This isn't realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like using Bruce Lee in the game.
Exactly.
Oh, they did do that.
Yeah.
And now we've seen this in person. Like, just how difficult is that move to do?
I'll tell you, nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Because of the weight distribution. First of all, you don't see suplexes in that regard often. Just the suplex. Forget the fucking armbar. Yeah. Just let's focus one at a time, right? So you got to kind of pull. DJ broke it down so you can listen to the interview, but what he's saying is you have to create unbalance in order to then scoop somebody, because otherwise they're just going to sit on their way, and then you can't pick anyone up. It's a hip game. Whose hips level is where, right? He changed the hip level because he knew the guy was going to throw a back elbow, backstepped, and that's when he created it. What's absolutely savage is he picks him up, and as he's in the air, releases grip entirely with both arms to grab that arm, and gets his right leg over the head. All kind of, I think the right leg might have been over the head before it even hit the ground. All of that happened. I think it was. That's less than a second real time.
Yeah, insane.
Absolutely, it's insane.
It's like it didn't. When you watch it in slow motion, it's like it's still almost like, how did his brain calculate that so
apparently
fast?
He does it all the time as well, which is crazy.
Yeah, which then makes some sense of it at least.
Yeah, a little note as well.
Otherwise, it's the Matrix shit. Legit.
People were calling it the mousetrap. But apparently, he
didn't like it.
Yeah, but not that he didn't like it. Apparently, he has another submission that he calls the mousetrap. He said it on his Twitch stream. He said, "There's actually a submission I do that I haven't done in the UFC yet. That's called a mousetrap, and I'm hoping to do it." And the crazy thing is, I've seen a comment on it as well. It was that for a lot of other people, they'd be saying, "Oh, he's just messing around. He's just trying to hype himself." I completely, I think that he does have a submission called a mousetrap that he wants to do. I really do. I think he has something else up his sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we should do is, because we don't have a whole lot of time to go through everything, we'll try to do a few questions. And this was on your video. One that stuck out for me was by Penny Losner. Is there anything that DJ doesn't do well, aka do you see holes in his game, and who's the closest to him for versatility?
Oh, okay.
So any holes?
Kind of to the point I said before. Boxing, I guess.
Straight up boxing, yeah.
Like I guess. It's like I'm searching at that point. His hands are fantastic.
Yeah.
So his footwork is the very best in MMA, hands down. That's not even close. He has the best clinch work in MMA. Submits black belts. He knocks guys out at 125. His kicks are fantastic. His low kicks. Yeah, no. I literally can't think of. There's nothing. When you're watching Borg, like you're like, how fast is Borg? How game is Borg? And then you watch DJ and you're like, he's faster. He's so fast. I don't even understand it. You have to slow it down almost. And I'm pretty fast, like computing it all. Yeah. But he's absurd. No weakness. Yeah. As far as a 2, like who would be closest? Oh, God, I don't want a fanboy. It's tough. It's going to... Oh, God. So hard to say, because it's going to be... It's not going to be a heavier weight class, you know what I mean? I would have said like someone like Rockhold, in a way, after the Weidman fight. But since then, I'm like, I see some chinks. So I'd have to change my mind on that. I would have said GSP 8 years ago. God, I hate doing the default answer. Dillashaw's up there.
Yeah.
He's very well rounded. I'm thinking at like 155.
I'll tell you who I think. I'll tell you who I think, and I don't think
it
necessarily means that he's the best fighter in the world right now, but I think in terms of versatility, and he has a very well-rounded MMA game. I'm going to say Max Holloway.
Yes, but a lot of his like 101s aren't there. Like the way that he throws hands are a little different, but I know what you mean. Yeah. And you haven't seen him do like any world-class jiu-jitsu, I'd say, yet.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult.
He's a really good one. He's really good, but how about Frankie Edgar? There's one.
I was going to say Frankie.
Our
early doors, BJ Penn.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
He was, but he had no takedowns.
It's just Demetrious just does things completely differently. Like just the finish. Nobody does that.
Demetrious Johnson is, to keep with the video game analogy, it's when you put a cheat code in.
Yeah,
and your guy, this is the guy you get when you get the cheat
one more
code.
Quick one before you move on, because again we don't have too much time. What's next for DJ? That's from Phil Davey.
Unfortunately, because I don't like when I feel like someone was pressured into a fight by Dana. That pisses me off. Yeah. But I do think the best fight is the winner, of course, of TJ Cody. I do agree. Who doesn't want to see that? Yeah. You're crazy if you don't want to see that fight. Yeah. And I think since Mighty Mouse has fought at 135, I think he's exponentially better now. So especially I think he matches up better with TJ potentially. I think because there's like, I agree. It'd be a room full of weapons in that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Cody's got that crazy power where he could lose 4 rounds and then catch him in the 5th and it'd be like, what the fuck? So it's almost like, I don't know. But the winner of that fight, I'm going to go with that.
I'll tell you who I wish it could be, but I also think that it's going to be still too early. I think Henry Cejudo, if he has a good performance against Sergio Pettis, but I still think even if he does and he goes out there and sparks him, I still think it's too early. I think he needs another 3-4 fights before I want to see him in there again. That's the problem. Though, so I do think if it's going to be somebody, the winner of that, he goes up and fights for the title. But I wish it was Cejudo. I really do.
I want to jump on a couple of other fights on the card here as well. Talking about problems in divisions, this was a problem. It went crazy on Saturday night. Fabricio Verdum ended up fighting Walt Harris. I got home from Cork and I seen Walt Harris walk into the cage and I was like, yes, I got home in time for the Godbeer fight. Lovely. And Harris gets in and starts walking around the cage, and next minute Verdum starts walking out. I'm going, my phone battery went when I was at the show, so I'm like going, what's going on here? And I ran and charged my phone, and I seen Godbeer to put up a post saying his fight's moved on to the main card, and I'm
ecstatic.
Going, and I'm there going, oh, right, where? And then it's off. I'm like, what happened here? And then what I would say is this is where you see levels in MMA. And Walt Harris was just not at the level of Fabricio Verdum. He got the takedown inside 15-20 seconds, and the fight was over. The transition, by the way, the jiu-jitsu of Verdum to go from the back, where Harris went to hand fight to then trap the hand and turn it into an arm bar.
That's one of my favorites. I used to catch people with that all the time. I don't do it as well as he does. He's a savage. Yeah. But you made a really good point to the levels of things. When people watch like even like World Series of Fighting or whatever, a lot of those people, like, I don't think people understand the amount of levels or the disparity amongst them, right? That was never, what was it, a 15-second fight? In all 15 seconds, everyone knew the outcome. Yeah. I mean, it was so dominant, it was kind of silly. It was a silly fight.
Unfortunately, it was.
Impressive because it was like, oh, right, yeah, you're that much better than 98% of the heavyweights in the world, you know, or 99 or whatever. That was never even fun. You know, it was cool, awesome transitions, great sub. Yeah, did anyone think anything else would happen?
What I felt it was just a little reminder to show how good Fabricio Verdum is when he's against somebody that he can play his game against. That's what it was. Unfortunately,
if I thought they were that smart, then I'd agree with you. But I don't.
Unfortunately for Walt Harris, it's a bad loss. You know, it's a bad loss in the context of, sure, he's against a really good guy and he probably should have lost, but he was on the main card. It ended so quickly. It was so brief. It's just a bad look.
And you got to feel for Godbeer in it as well.
You feel for Godbeer. Like, I know he got paid, and I know they want to rebook that fight soon. And he's been calling out Todd Duffy. I don't think that's going to happen. But you have to feel for Godbeer.
Just a couple of notables on it. Cody Stamann got a great victory, split victory over Tom Duquesnoy. Highly touted Tom Duquesnoy. Looked like Duquesnoy faded coming into the third.
Do you agree with the decision? I know a couple of people were.
Yeah, no, I agree with the decision. I thought Tom Duquesnoy looked highly impressive in the first round. Cody sort of got the measure of him with the takedowns in the second round. You could see Cody kept looking up to the screen to find out times to take the takedowns. 1 minute, get the takedown, do the work, and it looked like that played its part coming into the third round. Duquesnoy looked somewhat sluggish, and Rob, you pointed out, was moving
very awkwardly. I don't know if you noticed this as well. In the last round, he was moving very awkwardly. I don't know if he hurt something or he was just tired, but the way he was moving on his feet looked completely different than the way he was moving on his feet in the first round.
Yeah, I just think he's really white. He moves like a white guy. No, he's kind of awkward for a guy that's like an awkward striker. It's not, I don't know. I was kind of like, that was the fight. Someone asked me why I kept saying jab. It was him. I was watching him fight. Like, you have all this fancy shit. Do you throw a jab ever? Because at one point he looked like he could do some damage, and he was like looking for goofy shit. And it's like, if you just would set things up. Joanna's brilliant at this. Watch Joanna when she has someone hurt on the cage. How she uses. It's not a jab. It's not just a jab. It's framing. You know, it's a you know, the whole range finder, which has become way too trendy a word, but it literally becomes that, right? So you have to start finding things.
Boxing off.
That guy he didn't do that. His angles were goofy, and he just looked like the whitest guy ever in the third round. It was weird.
A lot of hype behind.
He lost to a better fighter.
Yeah, a lot of hype behind Tom Duke-Moss. So this year, you're gonna have to go off and reset. And
still young.
Again, very young.
Very
obviously, we've seen Tom. We had Tom on the show last week. We're big fans of Duke-Moss, so we'd like to see him get a resurgence there. A lot of people call him from the move. But
also,
the feather, by the way.
we're saying, you know, he looked awkward, and you know, a lot of credit to Cody Stamen. Well done.
Cody Stamen
Well
absolutely phenomenal.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, geez, we'll get these racist comments again. You stay off with that.
Yeah, geez, I didn't even know
I forgot about that.
Fight of the night, in Joe Rogan's opinion, and was willing to say it for the rest of the card, was Lando Vannata taking on Bobby Green. This was a fight that almost got stopped in the first round. Vannata looked like he had Green on destiny, just literally a couple of strikes out the door. Green was getting back up. Through a strike, caught him with the tie, but got deducted the point straight away. And the fight ended up as a split draw. What do we think of the outcome? Do we agree with the draw, firstly? And was the fight as good as they were going on about on commentary?
Yeah, I think it was incredible.
Yes.
I think this is the only time you'll ever hear me say this. I'm glad it was a draw.
Yeah.
It felt like a draw to me.
Yeah. I think the two guys did as well.
Yeah.
They
they were celebrating it.
They're kind of like,
in a weird way.
Yeah.
That it was the right call, although the route to it was a little funky because you had a point deduction. But without that, it still felt like a draw. You know what I mean? Well, that was a fantastic fight. They were very they're different in their approach, but they're similarly minded.
Last week.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, I agree.
Similarly minded.
One's more fancy, one's more orthodox, but at the same time, like, they both had moments where you're like, oh, there it is. It might finish. Oh, he might. And what's his name? Lando was busted up at the end of the first or the early in the second.
Yeah.
So there's that element of, like, when your nose is bleeding that bad in a fight, your breathing's disrupted. You usually start gassing. Those guys put it all out there. That was DJ said, and I think he said something about this in the post fight, where he was like, "Those fights the fans love, right? Because people get concussed over and over." And in that regard, I don't always want to put those as the pedestals of the best fights, like Rory versus Robbie Lawler, right? All those, like, savage back and forth beating type fights, but the fan in me can't help but say, yeah, that's an amazing fight. Yeah. Like, I'm lying to myself if I say I wasn't totally on the edge of my seat, you know?
Last one, on the preview show, I said something similar where you could call Lando Vannata is groovy and Bobby Green is kind of groovy. Similar approach, more orthodox, but, you know, kind of groovy.
Yeah.
Quick question. It came on your YouTube page. It was about the Philly shell. So Bobby Green often uses the Philly shell in MMA. It's not seen very much.
He does.
Is it effective?
It was semi. It wouldn't be if he had fought like someone like Conor with those kind of hands would just eat right through it. Because a good MMA boxer, which Conor's the best MMA boxer probably. Clearly. You can't. Here's what people don't understand about it. I used to, by the way, like years and years ago, before I knew you guys, I covered that in, like, one of my early breakdowns, like things that are in other combat sports that we haven't seen in MMA. Yeah. And one of them I was talking about was shoulder rolling / shelling, right? Yeah. And I contemplated it kind of aloud in a video. But watching it, what you realize is that works predicated on glove size.
Sure.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So Floyd's here and he's orthodox, right? And you throw a left hook. You know how he defends it from here? Like this. Mm-hmm. It's defended. That's it. With 4-ounce gloves, you can't do that at all.
Yeah.
That's going right through the chin. You're going to bed.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I would, as a coach, always teach people. I mean, where you hold your hands as far as height, that's kind of a subjective thing, depending on the fighter. But you still have 4-ounce gloves. So when you see like an elbow block, right, that makes so much more sense because you're obstructing the path.
Yeah.
You can't. A 4-ounce gets through that. So while it looks great. On a right cross, it works excellent because it rolls right off. Because this is how it works. When someone jabs, you pull back and you slap it with your glove. Yeah. When someone throws a cross, you roll your shoulder. When someone throws a hook, it's here. Uppercuts are blocked by the hand that is across my body. That's essentially the Philly shell. That's how it works.
Sure.
So in a boxing context, it's perfect with gloves that are, this big, like basketballs on your hands. When there's nothing there, it's going to slip through. So is it effective? Sure. In his case, would I recommend it to a student? No, not at all.
He seems to really accentuate the rolling part of it. Like you said that he kind of just move, like a lot of boxers just move with it and put their hand up, but he seems to really accentuate the rolling. He goes way off on the roll.
He does. It's like it's an exaggerated shelling.
Which makes sense. For MMA. Like
it's just. Do you see what I'm saying? Someone really good that can switch stances. Like, if they're rolling too much, you just switch stance and throw a hook from whatever stance you then switch to. Yeah. Like, it's with small gloves, you're going to get around that too fast. Yeah. And your legs tend to be really heavy in that defense, too. So you're going against either fantastic, like, someone that has fantastic takedowns, a Frankie or a Khabib, right? Let's call both of them amazing takedown artists. Mm-hmm. Or a great boxer, like a rangy guy, like Diaz, Conor, that have like those kind of hands. It's not going to work in either of those scenarios. Or a good leg kicker like Barboza, because he's going to be heavy on his legs, although they already fought. But you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of stylistic things that just are going to make that exploited almost. Maybe he can kind of refine it and make it work a little better, but I don't know. I don't see it being like the next trend.
Something you don't see too often out of title rematches. Is that the right thing to do here? Have an automatic rematch? Get the two of them in there to do it again?
In the case of a draw, sure.
Yeah, I think that's the right fight.
I think that should always be the case almost.
Yeah. It's something you don't see all that often.
Like controversial fights, I like when if they can do it fast enough,
Yeah, 100%. I think do it. And I also think the Evan Dunham and Beneil Dariush fight, do that again as well. It was fun, and why not?
That was a fun fight.
Yeah, just do it again. It was a draw.
That was a good fight too.
Yeah. I think one more I'm gonna call out before we call it a day. John Moraga's finish over Bibulatov. That was insane. Big left hook. He almost threw his left hook from the ground. It was insane. But if you haven't seen that finish, that was on the early prelims. It was great.
I missed it. I was at work.
Yeah, just there's a GIF on Twitter.
So was I.
Check it out. It was. You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
Spoiler. As well.
Yeah.
Wind up left hook.
Oh man, he lands an overhand right. Bibulatov is wobbled. He kind of senses it. He throws. Okay. I'm not sure what he throws out. I think he throws like a flying knee or something. And then there's throws a nasty left hook and lands and cracks him. And it was honestly the wind up on it. I haven't seen somebody land a left hook like that in a long time. It was a huge wind up and just landed right in the chin, knocked him out.
Was it a distance thing, or was it like he wound up from close?
No, distance. Like he came from here, like almost from where Noel is, and it was here, and he lands like with the fist.
Haymaker-ish.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, check it out.
All right. Yeah, I gotta see that.
Brendan,
he's a good fighter. I mean,
yeah, he's good. I like him.
As always, my man, it's great getting a little bit of knowledge. There's a lot of questions we didn't get to.
A lot, yeah.
But look, we're going to do a Q&A because it's always worth it. People always come on with questions for you, Brendan. So we're going to source in a lot of hour, let's say, and we'll do all your questions for Brendan Dorman. So, Brendan, for now, we will leave you and let you enjoy your Monday. But thanks as always, my man, and it's great to have you back on. I didn't get me Brendan Dorman on the last few weeks, and I've got it this week. I've got me fix. So, a pleasure, as always, my man.
It's been emotional.
I missed you guys. They like me. They really like me.
Do we just become best friends? See you later, my man. Have a good evening or afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye. There you are, Brendan Dorman. A lot of questions. We do apologise if we didn't get to your questions, but we're under the time scale. And if you're listening to us internationally, me and Rob could be in a little bit of a hurry tonight because Ireland are playing Wales in a qualifier. If we win, we're going to the World Cup.
No, if we win, we're going to a playoff.
Well, we're going to win the fucking playoff as well. But so we're a little excited. We're going again. But we're going to get on. The gentleman, Daniel Movahedi now, referee's corner. So let's move it on. Let's do it fastly. Let's get to and welcome Daniel Movahedi. So welcome back to, obviously, Fight Talk, and we're now in referee's corner. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see a fight here between Andreas Tucci and Rocky Stenning. This took place at Celtic Gladiator 14, and if you're looking, there's a deep rear naked choke there. You could see Daniel Movahedi, who is the referee in this, was looking closely at the fighter, up at the hands and the eyes, trying to get a better angle. But it's something Daniel has spoke to us about having the knowledge of position and stuff like that as well. Fighter safety. I mean, you can see Dan is looking, he's asking the questions, and something Dan does is that I've never seen a referee do before, actually, Rob, is he feels the fighter's leg to see, is he still awake, is he still in the fight. There's no point me trying to explain what he was doing, so let's get Dan on here. So Dan, first of all, looking at that incredible job by yourself, so congratulations on that. Essentially, you've helped the fighter there. The fighter was out because of the angle. You had no way of doing it, but man, great work. But explain to us what you were doing there.
Oh, thank you. Well, first thing I was doing is keeping the fighter safe and making sure he doesn't get put to sleep or take any unnecessary damage that he needed to. Yeah, we've spoken about it before. What do referees look for, especially in a position like that? Clearly one of his hands was trapped and it was so deep, and it was to get up against the cage. It wasn't in the middle of the ring or the cage. And it was just, everything was so confined. And, I thought, okay, I'm going to use other avenues. I can't check his hands because he's trying to hand fight and he's tucked underneath him. So let's, touch the leg, so to speak. And, could tell he was out. And again, as soon as the guy let go, like a second later, he came to, and he acknowledged that, he did go out. But, again, it's more the fact that rather than being drawn into just looking for the eyes or looking for the hand tap, you look for the legs or tapping with the foot, etc. So, yeah, it was good. And that fight, honestly, if you guys go back and watch that fight, I mean, that Rocky Stenning is one crazy motherfucker. Excuse me for swearing. Honestly, he come in, fair play to his opponent, Andrew, or Andreas, whatever you guys want to call him. He took that fight. It was a last-minute matchup from London Shoot. But Rocky, honestly, he was pumped. I mean, I don't know if Jerry sent the video, the interview he done with him backstage before the fight. I mean, that's before the fight. That
was it?
Whole him shut. Honestly, it was before the fight, an hour before the fight. Guy's off his head. But it was a good fight. It was back and forth. It was a scrappy fight, but it ended well. But it was a very good fight. So I urge anyone to go and watch some good fights on there. So, but yeah.
How important is that to look at the other things? Because I've seen, and I think we've covered a couple of fights where the referee is just looking and he's not checking arms, he's not checking legs, he's not really doing anything but just looking. And I'm sure it's difficult just to see with your own eyes if a guy is out. How important is it to actually check with your hands and make sure?
It is. It's very important, especially like I said, if the guy's while he's getting rear naked, choke, is facing downwards, you can't see the eyes, you can't see his hand reaction, and yeah, if I can't physically check his arms, like if his arms were out or I could see his face, that's fine. But, to touch the leg and you know if he's out or if he's gone limp. There's a difference between someone trying to work out there or someone relaxing as opposed to, they've passed out. It's very important. Like you said, we've covered a couple of shows, even some of the Japanese MMA, so to speak. A couple of months back, we looked one on there. Fighters got put to sleep, and you've got a cornerman coming in and pushing the referee off, going, look, he's out. But obviously that's nothing. I don't want that to happen to anybody at any level of the sport. So,
another thing you tagged us in during the week was a crucifix position, and there was some disagreement about a stoppage because the shots weren't enormous, but there was a lot of unanswered shots. Take us through that. I remember a famous one was on The Ultimate Fighter with Big Country, Roy Nelson, against Kimbo Slice, I believe, and Roy Nelson was literally just kind of tapping him on the face. It wasn't huge shots, but they're all unanswered, and the referee stopped it. That's a famous one. Explain what happened there.
Yeah, basically, I stopped the fight. It was Alex Montagani. Now I will name the fighter because it's been out there and they've mentioned it themselves. Alex Montagani versus Ivan Gold, a foreign fighter. And, you know, Montagani just coming off a win off of BAMMA as well. Came into the cage, looked fresh, dominated the fighter. Again, when I say I take things into account leading up to them positions, not just the crucifix, you know, he picked, literally, if you watch it, he picked his opponent up and looked like he was about to suplex him, and halfway mid-air, Alex just literally dumped him down onto the canvas. And they end up in side mount, got a crucifix and started raining, you know, I say raining shots down, started peppering shots with elbows and punches. And, you know, I say in my rules talk, I say to you, improve your position, because what you're showing me then at that time isn't intelligently defending yourself, or to me isn't putting your, you know, you're not in a safe position, regardless if the shots are hard. You know, that was, bearing in mind, that was within the first minute of the round. So I'm not going to sit there for the next 4 minutes for you to take peppering shots and you know, which could accumulate to you know, it can accumulate to major damage because, you know, it's still an unanswered shot, so to speak. And I gave the guy every opportunity to work out that crucifix. And don't get me wrong, it is a hard position to get out of, but you can get out of it, or at least show me you're getting out of it, you know. So, cut a long story short, stepped in, stopped the fight. Even the fight was like, why did you stop it? I said, look, buddy, the outcome would have been the same. I gave you every opportunity for you to turn your way out of there, get yourself out of there, and you didn't. And I did say in the rules talk, etc., shots, they don't have to be hard. You know, use that energy jumping up towards me to get yourself out of there. Next thing you know, the coach comes in, you done it again. Basically, same fighters from that camp I've stopped before because they're getting they're getting to a position where they just literally either cover up or don't do enough for me to let them carry on. And, you know, he was like, we was in crucifix, they weren't hard shots. And you know what I mean? You just think, come on, like, you're his cornerman. If anything, and maybe I did kind of get a bit peed off. I just turned around to him. I said, well, then maybe you should teach your fighters how to get out of a crucifix position, or teach them how to defend themselves a bit more better than that, and don't get into that position in the first place. So kind of got a little bit heated, but it was all right. It was good in the end.
See what happens to you. See what happens to you. You go and you win a couple of medals at jiu-jitsu competitions, and now you're calling out coaches.
Daniel Savage Movahedi.
Yeah. Forget that. We're going to take the gentleman over. We're gonna have to come up with something different.
My point was being made is that you know, they don't have to be damaging shots. You know, he was in a dominant position, and you look at the outcome. The outcome would have been the same. You know,
well, look, the way to look at it, Dan, in a comparison is, if you're in a rear naked choke, you mightn't be getting choked out at that moment, but if the rear naked choke gets kept on, you're eventually going to go asleep. So if you're in a position where you're in a crucifix, you're getting punches to the face, you're not defending it, you're not getting out, what are you going to do? Just let the 5 minutes tick by and let them get beaten?
You hear it from a lot of fighters as well. I know a couple of fighters we've said it to, and they've said it where a big shot landed and they say, no, that one actually didn't hurt, but there was other shots in the fight which don't look too bad, they're okay, but they're the ones that actually done the damage, they're the ones that hurt them. So it's hard to go by eye. That's why sometimes when you're talking about judging a fight and you're saying, this guy landed bigger shots, but you don't really know what the bigger shots are, because it's all relative to what that guy felt or how the shot landed. So it's
the thing is like I said, because it happened early on in the round, you know, it clearly didn't know how to get out of that position, right? And it is a hard position to get out of. Just clearly didn't. And I'm thinking in my head also, there's 4 minutes of this round. I can't just sit there. And even the Alex, you know, I was telling him, you know, you need to show me more work, because at the beginning he was just showing him throwing one shot, 2 shots. Then he started peppering him a little bit quicker, slightly more harder. And that's obviously prompted me to step in and stop the fight. You know, but. Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, look, the real saying tells you to defend yourself. You know what I mean? Leaving your face open and getting punched in the face is not intelligently defending yourself. So, you know, you're well within the rule set there. And we're looking at that, Dan, I have to say, that stoppage with the choke there, incredibly impressive work. I hate throwing too many compliments at you, but no, fantastic work, my man. Absolutely fantastic work.
Thank you.
Anyway,
you guys been all well?
Yeah, we're all right. We're eagerly waiting to watch Ireland.
Ireland playing 15 minutes, and my bus takes about 40 minutes.
There is a pub directly across the road that's calling us for the first half, possibly. So we could see. But Dan, it's as always, it's great having you on to clear up these little things that's happening. It's weird in some ways when you watch a fight and something goes wrong, you're like, oh, lovely, got something for Dan. But yeah, you're going to be with us soon in November. You're not working KSW by any chance, are you, over here?
I don't believe so. I think you've got Goddard or Rich Mitchell coming over, which will be good.
You and
that guy?
You and Goddard could have that role, the way you said.
When you said that, you beat him.
Yeah, like a bitch.
No comment.
Yeah. Dan, as always, absolute pleasure, me man.
Thank you, James.
Thanks for coming on.
And best of luck to you guys in your football tonight. I think you got to win to qualify, right?
Yes.
We got to win to get to the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Come on, Ireland.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Koi big. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Cheers, Dan. Thanks a million, me man.
Especially if I'm coming in 4 weeks' time. Come on, Ireland.
Yeah. You better be wearing green. Yeah. Well done, Dan.
Have a good evening.
Talk to you later, pal. Take care.
Thank you.
There you are. Great stoppage by Dan, as always. I have to say, he is world class. Isn't he? He's gone now.
No, he is.
He's a world class, and he genuinely his main interest is fighter safety.
Yeah, and
he's an excellent referee.
Yeah, and it's he loves talking about it. He loves talking about I wouldn't say the science behind refereeing, but in a way, the science behind refereeing. He loves talking about, he loves educating people about it. He loves, like when we kind of first had the thing with that, and we said, we'd love to bring you on to talk about, referee stuff, and it ended up being a thing where he's come on so much now. You can go back and he's been on so much, and he loves doing it.
It's just time is unfortunate that
sometimes schedules is big.
Dan used to be on for a lot longer. He used to hear his silky voice, but I love getting Dan on all the time.
That was a good show, though.
A good show, yeah. It was a big shout out as always. But thank you to our guests today, Mr. Daniel Movahedi, Mr. Brendan Dorman, and Alex the Kid Lohore, who takes on Richard Kiley. Hopefully, we'll have the two guys with us via either Skype, maybe in person.
Maybe in person.
We're looking forward to BAMMA. We're going to have plenty of coverage leading up to BAMMA, so check out, obviously, Fight Talk for All. Good interviews each week of fighters coming up.
Back. We had a lot of interviews last week. We had a lot of stuff. Jimmy Rivera interview. We obviously had Tom Ducamo interview. Luke Thomas was on, talked all things McGregor, all that kind of stuff. So that was fun. Go check it out.
But yeah, this has been 84, and we give a shout out as always to Fight Star Ireland, the Fighter's Choice, everything you need under two roofs. Go check them out, tell them we sent you. It's MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk, and also are helping us out with a good few little guest hookups, a few nice little guests coming up over the coming weeks. To www.feelsupreme.co.uk. Go check them out and use our code Fight Talk to get 10% off anything, Rob, on the website. Whatever you want. I'm surprised the Chinese team haven't got onto us actually to try and get this 10% off. But yeah, this has been 84. Hit subscribe below. You've gone now, so it doesn't really matter. You're now clicking off your phone to go, what will I listen to now? I'm still rambling. He's been Robert Palin. I've been Noel O'Keefe. You've been you. Beautiful. This is 84.